Hello, welcome back to And Sometimes Why. And today I want to talk about tanking.
If you like that intro, don't forget to like and subscribe. I put a lot of work into that intro. It took almost a minute of filming that I'll never get back in my life. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new and enjoy the video.
Now, I should give a warning that these takes are going to be a little biased. You know what? Let me put my fan cap on. I won't do this often. I'm going to put my fan cap on for this because we are talking about tanking and why I think it is a necessary evil and why what the NBA is doing will actually make it worse. The NBA is proposing to give the bottom 3 teams lower odds than, I believe, 4 through 10. This means the 10th worst team in the NBA will have higher lottery odds than the worst team in the NBA and the bottom 3. Now, I get that this will incentivize teams to win, and if that does happen, and let's say everyone tries hard to win, now the bottom 3 teams are actually the worst teams in the NBA, and it will be much more difficult for them to actually get better. The draft is one of the things that keeps the league balanced and allows bad teams to get better quickly. In every single league where a draft exists, a draft helps bad teams get better. That's what it's meant for. Doesn't mean you have to always get the top picks. The good teams are the ones that draft well consistently, always. But if the worst 3 teams have worse odds than 4 through 10, how do you expect those teams to get better? First off, probably not the best at drafting if they're in the bottom 3 of the league. Second of all, you're going to make it even more difficult for those teams to get better. I think this was already a problem when the odds were flattened as this video has, what is it, 5 days until the draft lottery? Since they flattened the odds, the number 1 team has never gotten it. I think it's been since 2020. And I have a fan cap on right now of a team that is the worst team in the NBA, meaning if the trend continues, the Wizards will not get the number 1 pick, and it is basically a coin flip of we will have the 5th pick or we will have a top 4 pick. I like that it's capped at we can only drop so far, but even as the worst team in the NBA, it's a coin flip. I wish I had a coin with me. Flip a coin. Heads, we get a top 4 pick. Tails, we get the 5th pick. Flip a coin. Literally 50-50 almost that we will get the 5th pick. And knowing how the NBA works, I will come back to this video when we get the 5th pick, and I'll have another video to this. I'll probably do my live reaction. But tanking, people say it's not competitive. When in reality, it is the most competitive thing you can do as a team that's not going to go far in the playoffs because of the higher draft pick. It's actually better off for you to have higher draft lottery odds than for you to be the Chicago Bulls, no disrespect, to be the Miami Heat in the play-in every year and constantly getting a pick towards the end of the lottery versus getting a higher pick. Obviously, you can find talent from wherever you are in the draft. The Indiana Pacers are a big proponent of that. The Toronto Raptors in the late 2010s. I mean, they're good now too, but getting a higher draft pick obviously increases the chances that you will find talented players, especially franchise changing players. Players like AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, Caleb Wilson. And there is a coin flip that the Wizards will get one of those players or not, having been the worst team in the NBA. I already think that is ridiculous. And we're going to make it so that the 10th worst team has better odds than the Wizards. Now, I know the Wizards were tanking, but this team is also genuinely not good. We made some trades for Trae Young and Anthony Davis, who did not play much, and that left us really without a backup center, which explains the Bam 83-point game, but not a good team. For us to really go out and compete would be foolish, also, because our pick, for those who don't know, is top 8 protected. So that means that if our pick was 9, 10, 11, that pick goes to the Knicks. So it would be foolish, it would be stupid for us to try and compete when the alternative is us getting a first round pick, now a guaranteed top 5 pick, in a loaded draft class. And you, as a fan, cannot tell me that you would not want your team to do the same. Making the play in here and there, depending on the situation, yeah, you're going to root for your team. I'm not saying making the play in is always horrible. But if your team is not in a position to win a championship, or even just make noise in the playoffs, tanking and rebuilding. It is the quickest path towards winning a championship again or competing for a championship. And for the NBA to talk about tanking as this huge problem, which it is, there is tanking. Shout out to Rusty Buckets. He put it this way, and ever since then, I've thought the same thing. You can solve tanking, but then you can make 10 other problems. Sure, giving the top 3 teams worse odds than 4 to 10, that would solve tanking. That would incentivize winning. But like I said before, now you are giving the worst 3 teams worse odds. Because if everyone, let's say perfect scenario, everyone still tries to win because that's what they would do. Now the worst 3 teams are actually bad. They're truly the worst 3 teams. And now it is more difficult for them to get better. It is ridiculous. I love the NBA. I love basketball, but it is ridiculous.
I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
And I will come back to this video when the Wizards get the 5th. And I will probably do a part 2 of this rant. I have this fan cap on, so you know whatever I'm saying is kind of biased. But I want all of you guys right now to put your fan caps on. If you don't have a hat of your favorite team, just pretend. But if you do, go grab that hat, put it on, maybe put on a jersey, and then look in the mirror. Going to the playoffs is fun. Being an 8 seed is fun. Being a 9, 10 seed could be fun. You get a play-in game. But if you're doing that multiple years in a row, don't you start to wonder what the direction of the team is? At the end of the day, Not many of us wearing our fan hats right now, not many of us have seen our team win a championship. And that is what all of us want more than anything. Be able to buy a hat that says 2026 NBA champions. It doesn't matter what year. The quickest way, look in the mirror, the quickest way for you to get to the championship is to tank. You know you would want your team to do the same thing. Now, can there be things we do about it? Yes. I think it would be stupid of me to not propose an alternate solution and just bash this one that the NBA is doing. Personally, going back to the old odds where the number one team had 25%, I think that would be fine. But tanking is a legitimate problem. As in, there's a difference between developing your young players and, don't want to name names, taking your players out in the fourth quarter. Or resting players who really should be playing. Because the Wizards, Alex Sarr had a hamstring issue. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, so I don't know what that issue was. If we're developing our young guys, I want Alex Sarr out there. I don't want him resting because he's too good. It was proposed that the NBA could get rid of odds, reduce the odds of teams who are tanking. And I think that's really all that has to happen. Is there has to be something that is punishable, something that is enforced, where teams are tanking. Hey, you guys pulled your starters in the fourth quarter. We're docking 2% from your lottery odds. And then that could go into a pool of odds that just gets distributed to the rest of the lottery teams. I think to make this an analytics video, what if we used analytics to make the draft lottery odds different every year? As in, based on team record, based on advanced stats, based on point differentials, and some sort of controlling for tanking in there. And it was different every year because the landscape of the league changes every year. There's not a certain amount of bad teams, there's a certain amount of good teams, but how bad are they? What's their record? What does that mean on a given year? I think having the lottery odds, instead of them being fixed, there could be a statistical model that's done at the end of every season, or even a committee of people if you want to not have it just be brought down to the numbers and teams can try to game the numbers. I think that would be a much better solution, and it is determined. I don't have that model in front of me. I kind of want to do a project on that, see what I can come up with, but if there is a way to control for tanking in a model like that, every team, every year, the odds would try to best reflect how much each team actually deserves the number one pick. And then from there, we let it up to random chance. This is not a problem in any other league, as far as I know. The NFL, tanking goes on week 18 sometimes, and then everyone forgets about it. The NBA, they could do something about tanking. What they are doing is not going to work. It is not. If they run this for a few years, Wizards, stop tanking right now. If your team is tanking, if your team is entering a rebuild right now, I'm sorry. Because you do not want to be in the bottom three now. And if you are, it's going to be because your team is genuinely bad. And a genuinely bad team is the one that needs the top 3 pick, is the one that needs the AJ Debonsa, the Darren Peterson, the Cam Boozer. And they will have a harder time of getting them. So, being a bad team just got a lot harder if this is what the NBA is going to do. And I don't know. Did you guys learn something today? I think I learned that I think tanking is a necessary evil. Yes, it's a problem, but it is a necessary evil. And if you want to get rid of tanking, you're going to open a Pandora's box of all of these issues. Yeah, nobody likes tanking, but if it was not to exist, if you were to try to get rid of it the way the NBA is doing right now, get ready for a league where bad teams stay bad for a very, very long time. And it's going to be very demoralizing. Wizards, please get out. Please get out of the bottom three. Tanking is done. Even if you're a play-in team, you'll have better odds now, I guess. So I hope you guys learned something today. I'll be back. I'll try to do a live reaction. If not, I'll do a post-draft lottery reaction of where my team goes. You guys could put on your fan caps too. The lottery is May 10th on Mother's Day. So if your mom is a Wizards fan, hopefully they get a Mother's Day present and get the number 1 pick. Even just a top 3 pick, please. Adam Silver. Please. What do we need to do to get a top 3 pick? Please. We can't be in the bottom 3 anymore. We can't. We're going to have worse odds. We're going to stay bad forever, Adam Silver, please. "18 minutes!" I hope you guys learned something today.